Good morning. Cold one today. It's the 4th of December, I think it is. Yep, 4th of December. And I'm just out walking the dog. Very grey, overcast, cold wind, due to rain in a bit as well. So not the best carp fishing conditions, if I'm honest, because the wind's really cold. It's really chilled. It's coming from the, where's it coming from? The northeast at the moment. So pretty cold. The old dog barking in the background, sorry about that. Yeah, just thought I'd come on here today and have a little bit of a chat about carp fishing and what it means to you, because I had a bit of a mixed week, if I'm honest. Had a few things going on, and also one of my target fish has been out. One of the lads on the lake's caught it. Cracking lad. He's not been fishing here a great deal. I'm not going to name him, but anybody who knows, if I say the word Nelly, I know a lot of you do. He's gone and stuffed it out, hasn't he? The old boy. Good old piece of angling as always. Great angler Nelly is. And I don't think he's been fishing on here very long. I saw him a couple of weeks ago, and he said he's just coming on here and having a little bit of a play on the big water in Lincoln. And it's not taking him long at all. He's a mega angler. I've already texted me well done to him. But you know what it's like, guys, when a target fish gets caught? Discombobulates you, especially with your plans. Is that the right word? And then also on one of my syndicate lakes, one of the members is trying to cause trouble for me, which is the reason behind this week's vlog, which I'll talk about in a little bit. This week, really, I'm sitting here as I get older and I think, why do some people go carp fishing? Well, first of all, let's start off by saying the reason I go is not just because of my job, it's because I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I'm completely dissolved in carp fishing. I always have been since I first started doing it. I had this little addiction, this little thing that was just drawing me to it. I remember one day, because my mum and dad are divorced, and I had a bit of a strange childhood, really. Didn't spend a great deal of time with my dad, but he did introduce me to fishing, mostly through my granddad. He was the one that taught me how to fish. But on one occasion, my dad was due to take me fishing, and he was due to pick me up. And I was only, about 10, something like that. And he rang up and cancelled the day's fishing because it was raining. And I was like, "You what? You've cancelled going fishing because of rain? You absolute posse." Do you know what I mean? That's how I felt about my dad, and I was only about 10. How could a bit of rain stop me from going fishing? I was so gutted. I remember, even to this day, I can remember the moment so well when he rang up and how down I felt because we weren't going fishing because of a bit of rain. It really struck a chord, because fishing for me is, certainly now, it's not just my job, it's my absolute passion. I'm absolutely addicted to it, completely dissolved in it. And even if it wasn't my job, I'd still be fishing all the time. These guys that are out all the time every week, it's a complete addiction to those guys. And I'm one of those people. You see these guys commenting on Facebook and social media saying, these saddos that are out fishing all the time and they're always on the bank, they've got no life and things like that. Well, that's how I choose to live my life, to fish. That's what I love doing. That's what life is about. It's about enjoying yourself. If you don't decide to go fishing all the time yourself because you don't like it, I completely understand why you don't go fishing all the time. It's entirely up to you what you do with your own lives. But for me, that is me. I absolutely love fishing, and I'm really fortunate. I'm very privileged in many ways as well to have turned fishing, which is my hobby, into my career. It's my career. It's been my career now since I left university, which was 1996 or thereabouts. And it's a long time. That's 30 years, or nearly 30 years of working in the fishing industry. And before then, it was my part-time job as well. But obviously now it's my full-time job. And I know that being involved in the fishing industry, it puts me in a really privileged position. It puts me in the position of accessing fantastic waters like the one I'm fishing at the moment. Also, being in touch with the grapevine, finding out what's going on, finding out who's catching fish, finding out how you get on lakes, knowing people that's connected to somebody, the grapevine, the networking. That's a big part of fishing. How do you get on some of these lakes? I sometimes get messaged by guys on social media, can you shed any light on how I can get a ticket and things like that, knowing full well that that particular ticket is quite hard to get hold of. Whereas, you know, when you're in the industry, you're in a privileged position. Hang on a second, Molly. Really sorry about my dog barking. He's just like it all the time. Go away. And you know, working in the industry, it puts me in a massively privileged position because I've got access to gear, to bait, all of these advantages that a lot of people who don't work in the industry don't have. And you know, that's one of the best things about my job. I absolutely love it. But also, on the flip side of that, there are downsides to it. And this week I've experienced a little bit of that because, well, certainly most weeks I get it, because when you're on social media and you put yourself out there, you make videos or you put catches on social media, people criticise you, people make comments about things that you've done, and a lot of them are inaccurate. Not always, but a lot of them are inaccurate, and they make opinions of you which aren't necessarily true, and they make opinions of you when they don't know you and they're not even interested in knowing you. And this week I've been on the receiving end of that from a guy that's on a lake that I fish, and it's kind of made me want to put this piece together today. Is not to talk about that particular incident, because that's just nothing, it's just disappeared, but it made me as a carp angler sit there and think, well, why'd you go fishing? Why do you want to do that? You know, he's on the same syndicate as me, or one of the syndicates, and he's tried to cause trouble, and why do you want to do that? Why do you want to do that? You know, what's the reasoning behind doing that? And there are people in the carp fishing industry who I always sit there and I think, I actually feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for people that don't go carp fishing for the same reasons as me. And I'm not talking about my job now. I'm not talking about working in the industry. I'm talking about my absolute love for fishing, my absolute love for being outside, my absolute love for just being here. And some people, go away dog, some people seem to have a very distorted reason why they go carp fishing, because they can't help themselves when it comes to looking at what other people are doing. You know, if somebody catches a big fish on a lake that I'm a member of, like this one here now as an example, Nellie's gone and caught the big one this week. First thing I did is message him, well done mate, so happy for you. And I genuinely am. People will tell you what I'm like. If somebody catches a big one on a lake I'm at, and if somebody catches a big one on a lake I'm on, and I'm on the water, come and get me and I'll do the pictures. I love doing it, I love seeing it. The next best thing to catching a carp is seeing it on the bank. And over the years I've taken pictures of big uns and filmed big uns for not just me mates, but for people that I don't really get on with. It's their special moments, it's their moment with that big un. And sometimes these big uns are not easy to catch. So, you know, it's your moment, you want it captured right, and you want it recorded right. It's your memory, and it deserves being done in the right way, because it's a great moment, it's a great memory, especially if it's a fish that only gets caught once every year or doesn't get caught very often. You know, something that gets caught every couple of years. And you know, the effort that goes into catching these fish, you want to record that moment in the right way. And you know, for me as a carp angler, it's part of going fishing is seeing somebody else catch a fish. And you know, it's not your turn today, it'll be your turn the next day. And I'm hoping that, you know, next time I come fishing, I'm going to catch a whacker. You know, every time I go fishing, I'm hoping I'm going to catch a whacker. That's how it is. But these guys, and there are some, who can't help themselves when somebody's on a lake, whether he's a profile angler or what, or whether they don't know him or what, but straight away they dislike someone. They dislike that guy for whatever reason. And if I get any inclination that somebody's like that about somebody, you know, you have these conversations with guys on the bank and they turn around and just say, oh, I'm not sure about him over there in the corner, when you don't even know the bloke really that you're talking to, straight away that's a red flag for me. I start sitting there thinking, why is he slagging that guy off when he don't even know me? You know, he's slagging somebody off and he don't even know the person he's talking to. And you know, I don't like that kind of behaviour. It's always been something I've always thought, what's your motive? What's your reason for doing that? And, you know, the longer you've been carp fishing, the more I think you look at carp fishing in a different light. And probably when I was younger, I did have an ego. I've still got an ego now. I mean, blokes have got egos, haven't we? We've all got egos. But my ego has been damaged that many times, you know, friggin' hell. I once got stopped, this is in boxing, I once got stopped in the first round, you know. I held my hand up, yeah. Got floored, got my whole image destroyed. You know, all my mates was watching, and it happened, you know. That's even now, as a sportsman, I feel, you know, so much like my ego's properly wounded by that. You know, that is where your ego gets damaged. But in fishing, I ain't got an ego. You shouldn't have an ego at fishing, because sport is completely different to carp fishing. That's the point I'm getting at. And, you know, I've played sport at a decent level. I played county cricket, not as a proper first-class county cricketer, before anybody says. I played for Staffordshire under 15s and under 16s. So I played at a decent level, and, you know, I've done lots of things in sport over the years. Turned my hand to athletics, to football, to boxing, cricket, everything. I love sport. I come from a sporting family where losing is not an option. But obviously, the older you get, the more you realise that losing is something that happens. So you get wounded by that. Your ego gets wounded by it. But with fishing, I don't have an ego. I did when I was younger. I always wanted to go on a lake and be the top rod, the one that was catching loads of fish. But that's when you're a kid and you don't really understand what carp fishing is about. You think it is actually possible to go on a lake and catch more than everybody else every single time you go fishing. But it's just not. It's just not possible. Whether your name's Rod Hutchinson, Terry Earn, Tom Maker, anybody, you can get outfished by somebody's nan who's just started fishing. But somebody's nan is not going to get Tiger Woods' golf clubs and go and win the Masters or the Open, or somebody's boxing gloves and go and knock out Tyson Fury or Alexander Usyk, I should say. Or, you know where I'm going with it. You know, sport is sport, fishing is fishing, and there's good guys that are good match anglers when it comes to carp fishing. They carp fish regularly, they fish in the matches, and, you know, they often catch more than other people, but not always. And that's the point I'm getting at with fishing, is it doesn't always happen. So it's not possible to be this superstar carp angler, or this greatest carp angler, or this one that catches more than everybody else. Even Terry Earn, who we all look up to, you know, ask him about when he caught the wazing fish. You know, he wasn't the only person that caught it during his time on that lake. There was other people that caught it before him. That's fishing, that's carp fishing, that's how it is. And these people where I'm going with this is to do with this guy who's on one of the lakes I'm a member of, and he's tried to cause trouble. And it makes me question, why do you go carp fishing, mate? Why do you actually go carp fishing? Why do you want to try and stop somebody from catching fish? You know, why? Why do you want to do that? I don't understand it. You're in it for the wrong reasons. That's what I'm trying to say, is you're in it for the wrong reasons. It's about enjoying your time, you know, on the bank. You go fishing to enjoy it, to sit with your mates, to meet people, to make friends. I've made some lifelong friends in the fishing industry. I've made some lifelong friends on the banks. Just sitting there, 1 minute you can be talking to a guy next to you who's a Premiership footballer, and the next day you sat next to a guy who's not a mass murderer, but somebody that's just finished a 25-year life sentence for murder. And I have done. I've met guys like that on the bank. I've met burglars. I've met stoners. I've met people who sell drugs, people who are gangsters, people who have been inside for numerous years, people who are millionaires, people who are successful businessmen, people who are famous, people who just normal bankers, you know, blokes who've got a cleaning job, blokes that just go fishing, blokes that've got no money. That's what carp fishing is about, you know. It's full of people that's like that, and we've all got different lifestyles. We've all got different things that we do. We've all got different reasons why we go fishing, and I kind of wanted to say on here today, because you've probably all experienced it, because carp fishing is one of those hobbies where if you've not yet caught a big one from a lake, or if you've not yet caught some fish or been successful on a lake, then you will do sooner or later, and you will be that person sooner or later, because that is fishing. We all get a turn, we all get a chance. When we used to do Carp Talk, every week somebody different was on the cover with the special fish of the week. Somebody different was Carp Angler of the Year every year, unless it's the Angling Times woman who seemed to just select the same people every goddamn year, without looking at what goes on in the carp fishing industry. And thankfully I've just learned today that Elliot Gray from Sipography has decided to take up the Carp Angler of the Year competition and bring out his own Carp Angler of the Year competition, looking at people within the carp fishing industry rather than the Angling Times, oh, let's just select a few names and put them down as the Carp Angler of the Year. I'm pretty bitter about Martin Clark not winning it last year. I said that in one of my vlogs last year. He should have easily been it, catching those two different 60-pounders from England. First ever man to do it. He was Carp Angler of the Year, Clarky, last year. Definitely. Anyway, you know, where I'm going with this is that if you eventually become successful on the water that you fish, you'll probably lose friends. But they're not really friends. They're people who 1 minute are your friend, but then when you catch a fish that they want, they don't like that. They don't like to see you being successful. There's only a small amount of people that are like that, only a small amount. And those people are in carp fishing for the wrong reason. And that's what today's vlog is about, really, is if you get a chance over the next however long, sit and think to yourself about what carp fishing means to you and why you're in it, why you're in it. If you're in it to get away from work, to just get away from everyday stresses of life, that's what carp fishing is. If you're in it to meet friends, have fun on the bank, that's what carp fishing is. If you're in it to make memories, fish amazing places and just have a great time in your life, that's what carp fishing is. But if you're in it to try and be the best or the greatest carp angler in existence, or if you're in it to try and stop other people from catching fish, if you're in it because you don't like somebody else catching fish while you don't catch fish, you're in it for the wrong reasons. You really are. And you should probably take a good look at yourself if you like that as well. Because over the years, everybody who's been involved in carp fishing for many years will have come across those characters. They'll have come across one person, one bad apple on a lake, who likes to cause a lot of negative vibes. You know, if you're one of those people, then you probably need to take a good look at yourself and probably have a bit of a reality check. Because carp fishing isn't a sport where one man is the greatest carp angler in the world, one man is better than everybody else, one man is the holy grail of carp fishing. That don't exist. It don't exist. It really don't exist. And it makes me smile when I see these people who try and cause trouble for other people, because it makes me look at that person and it makes me sit there and think, well, you know, are you holier than thou? I don't like grassers, basically, is what I'm saying. And grassers always come unstuck somewhere down the line. So the moral of this video today is don't be a grasser. Just enjoy carp fishing for what it is, for the right reasons. Enjoy it so you can enjoy it and have good times and spread good vibes, spread good love amongst the other people on the lakes that you fish. Of course you have personalities that clash, people that clash. Every lake you fish, there's people that don't get on. You know, they don't see eye to eye. But I have seen people who don't see eye to eye come together when somebody's caught a fish, and they've shared the success, shared the moment, shared the memory together. Because that's what fishing is like. My dog is so annoying, I know. He's just barking, running around, barking and everything. But that's all I wanted to say, really, is why do you go carp fishing? because we should be going for the love of the sport, for what it is, the love of what carp fishing brings, the happiness that carp fishing brings, the pleasure that it brings. But if you catch more than some people, unfortunately, said people get upset. Some people do. They can't help themselves. They can't help themselves. They wind themselves up. They sit there in the bivvy. He's just caught a carp. He's caught a carp. He's caught it over my baited area. He's caught it from my spot. Why has he done that? How's he caught a fish and I haven't? You know where I'm going from. You know those kind of people. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Don't want it to be a negative vlog today. I just wanted it to be more along the lines of go fishing for the right reasons. Go fishing to enjoy it. Go fishing to enjoy the memories of carp fishing. Being out here, you know, look at me today. I'm out here. I'm out here fishing. That's all I'm doing, fishing. Just fishing, catching carp. Enjoying myself with a crazy dog. All right, I'm probably going to get a few negative comments underneath this, because that is the nature of vlogging. It's the nature of some people, their state of mind, their frame of mind. You know, not everybody's mental health is in a good place. I get that. You know, mine's not been brilliant lately because I've got a few problems with my mum at the moment. So not from a relationship point of view, but from an health point of view. So, you know, it happens. Some people's frames of mind goes up and down, but you've got to try and control it, haven't you? You've got to try and keep the vibe good, keep the love good. And fishing is the one thing that, yeah, it's my job. It's the one thing that keeps me alive. It keeps me healthy. It keeps me going. It keeps a lot of people healthy. I know a lot of people that use fishing as a tool to recover from life's problems. And you know, that's what fishing should be about, is just enjoying it. Not being green-eyed, not being envious of what other people do, not being envious of what other people catch. I'm leaving it there. I've said enough. I'll see you again next week. 6 o'clock every Wednesday. Keep enjoying it.